Okay, today what we're going to do is talk a little bit about what happens after the game is over. We have to do a little bit of processing to get ready for the next game and also to complete the game that we've just finished.
Okay, after we've set up the game, we need to do a little bit of after game processing. I've got a sample game set up here to show you. First thing we want to do is make sure we have all the scores in and everything is loaded back from the server. So the way we do that is first we check to make sure all the names are in, and we can do that by hitting F11 and then going down to list, and it will then ask you where we want it to screen by rank. And now we can see all the names, and we know all the names are in there and they're in correctly, and that's good. We also want to know whether or not we have all the rounds entered. I'm going to escape out of that. To enter, you would do a Control P, and it would come in and get the next set of rounds, and you keep doing that until you can't do it anymore. But we've already looked at everything. We know that I'll go back and look at that again. Do an F8 and by rank. And if you take a look at this, we can tell that this was a 5-round game and the scores after 5 rounds. So we have all the rounds in, and these are the final scores right here. So great. Everyone's seen their scores. They've all gone home. And now we have some work to do after game processing. First thing we need to do is save off this file. And to do that, we do an F11 again, and we go down to where it says LRECA, recap or to the screen. And we click on that, and we want to do it to a text file. Say OK. It wants to know where it goes in the game file, and it assigns a name to it, which is really the date. This is 2018-08-14, and we say save it, and it wants to know whether it's a list or recap, and yes we do. That's item 10. 120 is fine. By rank is what we want. Okay, now we've saved our file off. So now we have everything we need to go and load the file into download it to our ACBL Unit 714. So I'm going to close this out. And now I'm going to go look at, close this out. Now I want to go look at these two programs. Well, I do. And the first thing we want to do will be to post our scores on Unit 174's website. The second thing we want to do is to get set up for next week's game. And there are two programs we use for these two tasks. First of all, if you look on your desktop, you'll see an icon that's with a green dot in the middle of it. That is a program called Post-it, and that transfers the data up to our unit's website. The thing we're going to use is Bridge Composer. Composer generates the hand records, and in fact generates the files that we use. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. First thing I want to do is post my files up to the website. And I will do that by opening up my score post, and I will go up here where it says Post Games, or F4, and I'll click on that. Now it thinks I want to post all the games, but I don't, because everything else has been posted. So I'll unclick that, and I'll go down to the game I want to post, which is 2018-08-14, right here. Now that's the file that we just saved. and it knows it's out there and brings it up in the list, so I don't have to go hunting. But I also want to add the hand records to that file. And if you look here where it says click here, right here, that's where you add the hand records. So I'm going to click there, and it wants to know where the hand records are. Well, here they are. I have put them in this file, 180814, in my documents. So I click on that and open it. Now I'm ready to post. So all I say is OK, and it starts downloading, and it brings up a little screen, and I don't know why it brings this up. It wants to know if there are master point limits. Click in there and just say no and say OK, and now it will go and post all this stuff for us, and we've done our in-game processing, and everything is posted. And if you go to the website, you'll be able to find all that razzmatazz. And we're done with score post. Now you can check out that in fact it got there by going to Unit 174's website. And if I do that, I'll do that. Open up my browser, and it pops right up immediately with access to the internet. It just comes up immediately, no waiting around, just boom, it's there. And I have my Unit 174 page bookmarked. Now if you don't have it bookmarked, you're going to have to figure out how to do that. Just type in 174 into Google and you'll find it. But I have it bookmarked, and I'm going to click on it, and it brings up the home page. Now that's nice, and you can get a lot of information off the home page and a lot of stuff. But we're not worried about that right now. We just want to make sure our scores got in. So if you look at these links down here, you're going to see one that says scores. Hover over it and go down to the month that you posted it, which is August, and it'll bring up again some interesting information we don't care anything about, but it's there. And if you look at August 14th, that's the date we were working with. You see where it says Katie here? If I click on that, it brings up my scores, and it also has the hand records and every board and how every board was played. So it's really kind of a neat little deal, and I recommend that you check it as soon as the game is over. Okay, we're done with that. Now the next thing I want to show you is how we set up for next week's game. In next week's game, we're going to use this little program I was talking about, Bridge Composer. Bridge Composer is the little red triangle icon on your screen. And the way you get into that is you click on Bridge Composer, and it should come popping right up. And it comes up with a screen that looks like that. Doesn't be a whole lot. But what we're going to do first is generate our boards. If you look up here at the menu list, one of the menus we have is Tools. Now, if I open that up, I can come down and there's an option to generate random boards, and that's what we're going to want to do. And it brings up generate random boards, and it says the first board's going to be 1, the last board's going to be 36, and it's going to be for Katie, and the event is 0321. I don't want that. I'm going to change that to salt and pepper. That's where we're holding the event. And the date of the event is going to be next Tuesday. which is the 21st. Okay, so we've got all that set in, and we're ready to generate our boards. I'm going to change this site to, well, I'm going to change the site to salt and pepper. And the event is Tuesday's game. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. You can put in there anything you want to. Key thing is you want to put the date in right, because we're going to use that later on for a number of things. So we say generate, and it flails through and generates all our boards for us. Okay, and there are all our boards. Now, right now we don't have a dealing machine. And without a dealing machine, we have to set the boards by hand. To do that, I need to generate a set of sheets that allow the players to set up their boards by hand. And we do that by making a sheet with 6 boards on each sheet. The way we do that is we go over here to File, and we go down to the, click on File, and it brings up some options, and you go down to Page Layout. Now on Page Layout, bring that up. Right now the layout is shown right here as 1 board per page. We don't want 1 board per page. So what we're going to do is click on that, open it up, and we're going to say as many as will fit in 2 columns. Right? I happen to know that's going to be 6 a page, and that seems to be the best option. There's another option here, many that will fit, let's see, 4 boards per page, and you might want to choose that because that makes them a little bit bigger. You have to print 8 pages versus 6, but it's a trade-off. Alright, so now I've generated them, and I've generated 4 boards per page. Okay, and I just killed it. So let me do it again. File, Page Layout, and I really want 4 boards per page, and I'll say OK. Alright, so now I've got 4 boards per page, and I just need to print that out in a PDF file, so that the person setting up the boards, or the players, as the case may be, can cut this up and use it to set up the boards. Now, to print it out as a PDF, I go to File, and I don't just go to Print. I go to Save as a PDF. Okay, click on that, and it wants to know the name. Now, here again, we're going to use the name based on the date, which would be 8/21. It's 18/08/21, and that will be the name of our PDF file, and I'll save it. Says some of the stuff is out of range. Don't worry about that. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So now we have it saved for the people that are going to be setting up the boards. Now I want to do another thing here, is I want to do what's called a double dummy. What the double dummy does is it adds to this file all the possible ways the boards could be played, and I will show you that here pretty quick. To do a double dummy, I go back to Tools, and I go to where it says Double Dummy All Boards, and click on that. And it will double dummy all boards. I'll show you what it looks like. Tick, 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 tick. It's doing all the calculations for us, so we don't have to worry about it. Very rapidly. It'll be done almost in the blink of an eye. You can hardly tell that it's working on it. happening so fast. Really quick. Quick, quick, quick. Yes, it is. Go, go, gopher. Here we go. We're almost done. And we're done. Now, if you look at each of the boards we have laid out, you'll see down at it's added to the bottom of this all the possible ways these boards could be played. And that's what we want on the handouts. So next thing we want to do is print a bunch of handouts that we can hand out after the game is over. To do that, we go up to File, and we go back to our page layout. Because now we don't want 4 boards per page. Now we want our page layout to be handouts. And you ask me, well, Bob, why didn't you do this originally when you generated these boards? There was an option there to double dummy at the same time. The reason I didn't do it originally is because the sheets I hand out to make the boards, I don't want it to have any additional information on it. I only want that the people to see what they have to see to make the boards. Okay, but now I want to generate a handout that will be given out at the end of the game. So I go down to page layout, and now you see where I've got 4 boards per page selected? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open that bad boy up, and I'm going to go to hand record. Click on that and say OK. Now our handout is a hand record, which is what people are used to seeing. This is what you see when you go to a tournament. And you also see it at the end of all of our sessions. Alright, so now I want to print that out in a file. And so I do a save as a PDF. And again, it's untitled. But I want to give it the same title as my other records. And so I just add a HR to the back end of that and say save. Alright, now I've saved my hand records, I've saved the records you need to make the boards. But even as I speak, we have our own dialer working our way. With a bridge dealer, not dialer, a dealer, we don't have to hand make the boards anymore. But I still have to generate a file for the mistress of the boards to use with our dealer. And here it's very simple. I'm going to use the same file that I used to upload. All I have to do is save this. Now that I've got everything on it, I do a file, save, and now it's going to save it, and notice it gives it the same name we were working with before, 180821. And it saves it off to my documents. And it saves it in what's called a PBN format, which is the format that we need for the upload, and it's also the format we need to give to the dealer that generates our hands. Save it. Now I'm done. I have everything I need for next week's game. All I have to do is give the files to the appropriate people and let them print them out or run the dealer, as the case may be, and we're all set up for next week's game. Thanks so much for your attention, and that concludes this lesson.